So integrations is nothing but delivering data from one system to other system. Okay. So in this case, delivering data from Workday to other system. Also, getting data from other system to Workday. Okay. So sending data to other system is called as outbound integration, and getting data into Workday is called inbound integration. Okay. Sending, getting data into Workday. Okay. Inbound is nothing but that comes into Workday. Outbound is nothing but that goes from Workday. Okay. So that's the outbound integration and inbound integration. Okay. And we have some standard integration concepts that Workday offers. One is EIB, which is Enterprise Interface Builder. So which is a standard integration tool, I can say, or a kind of method, standard integration method that Workday offers is through EIB. Okay. 80% of integrations we will be performing with the EIB. Okay. EIB is a straightforward integration tool where you can integrate the data from EIB to any other system. Okay. And mostly you'll have very straightforward requirements that you can actually use EIB. But wherever the 20% that I said, right, is according to when your EIB is not able to perform such kind of customizations, you go for other integrations. Okay. Now in this EIB, we can perform both inbound as well as outbound. Okay. Both inbound as well as outbound we can perform. So outbound, if you specifically talk, we already know that advanced report, whatever we have learned in custom reporting, can be attached to the integration, right? So for all the EIB outbound integration, custom report, whatever we have seen, which is of advanced report, will be the source of the data. Okay. Okay. Custom report, which is advanced report. Okay. Advanced report will be the source of the data. Okay. Which you can typically use to integrate the data. Okay. And when you are actually sending data from Workday to other system, even though you're attaching a custom report, when custom report is attached to the integration and when integration process the data that sits in custom report, it generates output in a XML format. Okay. Generate output in a XML format. XML is nothing but file format, I can say. Data file format, which will be XML format. All Workday integration outputs will be in XML format. Okay. So all the Workday integrations will be generating output by default in XML format. Okay.
Inbound.
Outbound. This is nothing but output actually. Inbound is nothing but loading the data into Workday. Okay, it will not generate any file. Outbound is nothing but it picks up the data that sits in Workday and sends the data to other system in XML format. Okay. XML format is nothing but this is how your XML format will be. The output of the data will be in this format if it is XML. Okay. It is hard to actually identify what is the field, what is the data and all, but Workday generates output data by default in this format. Okay. So when most of the system won't accept that, here comes a kind of transformation of the data that Workday is generating. Okay. Transformation of the data. Okay. So you can transform that XML into Excel file or CSV file or text file or JSON file, any other readable format, okay, where you can understand easily. You can transform the data from XML to any of this file format. Okay. To perform this transformation, there are two ways that EAB offers. Okay. One is custom report transformation. The other one is custom transformation. Okay. So to perform the file transformation from XML to any other file format, you have a delivered option that Workday offers is custom report transformation. The other one is a custom transformation. Okay. These two ways can be used to transform XML into other formats. Custom report transformation is Workday delivered one, standard one, configurable one. Okay, it's not a kind of a programming thing. You can use this one without any kind of scripting, without any kind of schemas, without writing any kind of expressions. You can perform a kind of transformation with just a kind of configuration that Workday offers, and it is a delivered process actually. Okay. So here you don't need any kind of programming things actually that you need to perform. Okay. So no. So the program that we typically call in Workday is XSLT actually. Workday supports programming language called XSLT, Extensive Style Sheet Language Transformation. Okay. Extensive Style Sheet Language Transformation is the language that Workday supports. And you don't need that when you're going with custom report transformation. Okay. Because it is provided by Workday just through configurations, you should be able to perform the transformation. Okay. Okay. Your custom report transformation is just a configuration. But whereas coming to custom transformation, requires XSLT actually. Okay. Requires XSLT. Okay. You need to write an XSLT when you wanted to go with custom transformation. Okay. This is not a configurable item, but it's a custom transformation where you need to write an XSLT to transform the data in a way that you wanted to have. Okay. Also, since you're writing an XSLT that is transforming file format from Excel to any of this file format or XML to any of this file format, since you're writing a program, you also have a lot of options there. Whatever the calculated field that we perform, right? Formatting, build date, evaluation, lookup value as of date, a lot of functions that we've used, right? We've learned. All those things can be done in XSLT with programming actually. Okay. So you can actually perform any kind of logical expression, okay, any kind of evaluation, any kind of conditional execution of the data. All those things you can perform with programming. So you can write those kind of functions in XSLT and do a kind of transformation. Okay. Because you're anyways writing XSLT to transform the data, you have an option to do that if you're expert in XSLT. If you're not an expert in XSLT, you can actually go with calculated fields and custom report transformation to transform the data. If you're expert, you don't need to go with this one. You can actually go with custom transformation where you can write XSLT to transform the data and do any kind of the logics in the programming action. Okay. So that is transformation part. Okay. So EIB offers both transformation and without transformation, you can actually have an option to generate similar output file, okay, which we're going to learn in our activity session. But you must be aware that what does EIB do? What are the steps to configure an EIB? Is what we're going to talk about. Okay. So generates output in XML format, which is for all the integrations in Workday. Okay. And you can do a transformation to get the data into these file formats. And to perform the transformation, Workday offers two transformations. One is custom report transformation, that is delivered one, which is a configurable one. You don't need any accessibility. Okay. But whereas for custom transformation, you need an accessibility. Okay. And there are three phases of your integration here. One is getting your data. What data that you wanted to send from Workday, get the data and transform the data if you wanted to do any kind of transform. Okay. Transform the data and then send the data. Okay. When I say send the data, nothing but deliver the data to target system. These are the three steps that you will be performing when you're building an integration. Okay. One is getting your data, means getting data from Workday. How? Through report, you'll be getting the data that sits in Workday. Okay. Once your report is giving data to the integration, transform the data because that generates an XML format, right? If you don't want to go with XML, use a transform data either through custom transformation or custom report transformation. Any of these two options you can use and transform your data. Once data is transformed, you get a clean data, then send the data to target system, which is your delivery system. Okay. So these are the three steps that you'll be performing. Okay. So inbound, outbound integration goes with these three steps and involves transformation, custom report or custom transformation according to your specifications. And you can actually have your custom report as a source for your integration. Custom report will be source of your integration all the time actually. Whenever you're building an EIV, custom report is the only source that is going to be source for your integration. If there are any kind of data formatting, data logical evaluation that you wanted to implement, if you're not aware of XSLT, then the only option that you need to have is writing a calculated fields, defining a calculated fields for each of the requirement that you have in a report, and call that report to the integration and integrate the data. If you are aware of XSLT, then no need of creating a calculated field. Just add the data in a report and do that calculations in a programming, and then in a program, nothing but the transformation. Okay, do that in XSLT, and XSLT will be taking care of doing all those formattings and all, and then it will be sending data to other system through send the data or step back in the send data step. Okay, that's how your high level integration for outbound will work actually. Okay, any questions anyone have so far?
Amit, is XSLT and XML similar?
No. XML will be output of Workday integration. Okay, XSLT will be picking up this XML and do a transformation. XSLT will read the data that sits in XML and transform the data into Excel, CSV, text, or JSON in any format that you wanted to have.
Okay, Amit. Thank you.
Input for XSLT is XML. Okay, XML is going to be input for your XSLT. Okay.
Yes, Amit. Thank you.
That's on the outbound integration, how EAB will work. Okay. And then coming to the inbound integration. Okay. Inbound integration. So when you have an inbound integration, it means that you're trying to load the data into Workday. Okay. Let's say you want to change the employee personal information for 100 employees. It's not possible to manually change personal information for 100 employees, right? You'll do data load into Workday through inbound integration. Okay. And your benefit provider is sending some kind of dollar amount for employee as part of benefit reimbursement. How does that data gets into Workday? There should be an inbound integration that picks up the data from benefit vendor system and loads the data into Workday through inbound integration. Okay. And any kind of your recurring projects like annual reviews, salary review that you'll be happening, right? So you wanted to upload salary increments for all the employees in one go. Okay. So bonus amount, you wanted to add bonus amount to all the employees. So you have inbound integration that will be loading all this data into employee profile through inbound integration. Okay. You wanted to hire an employee or you wanted to hire 100 employees into the system as part of your company acquisition. So you cannot do manually 100 hires, right? It's hard to actually, or the option that you choose with manual hiring is not a kind of best or recommended idea to manually hire 100 employees. So your EIB is the thing that you'll be able to process 100 employees into Workday through inbound integration. Okay. So inbound integration can perform data loads as well as external data loads from vendors actually. Okay. Example, I said benefit data that you'll be getting, right? You can actually load the data into Workday through external vendor system. Okay. So inbound integration will be performing a kind of data load into Workday, and that's nothing but through Excel sheet actually. It will generate an Excel sheet. You input the data into Excel sheet and attach that Excel sheet to the integration, and integration will load the data into Workday. Okay. At least EIB, I can say, you can manage without any kind of XSLT. Okay. If you don't have any XSLT, you should be able to handle EIB and connectors. Okay, to some extent. Around 80% of cases you can actually handle without any kind of XSLT knowledge. You should be able to handle integrations, outbound integrations, and there is one more concept called connectors after EIB. So you should be able to handle these two integrations without any kind of XSLT knowledge. And inbound integration does not require any XSLT because it's a data load through Excel sheet actually. You input the data into Excel and attach that Excel to integration. Integration will be loading the data into whatever you have added in the input file. Okay. And the term called web service. Okay. The term called web service is something that you need to be familiar. Any data that needs to be loaded into Workday has to load by a web service actually. Okay. So any data that needs to get into Workday should happen through web service. Web service allows data to get into Workday. Okay. Allows data to flow into Workday. Okay. So web service allows data to Workday actually. Once you have the data that is coming from Excel system through inbound integration, you should be able to have the data to be populated in Workday without any kind of custom integrations. Okay. That's about the inbound integration. Inbound is very simple actually. You generate an Excel, input the data, and load the data into Workday. Okay. And here you will not be having any kind of formatting, XML and all, because the data is not coming from Workday, right? So you don't need any XML file here. Data is getting into Workday. So you can see the output here. Okay. You can see somewhere it is starting, okay, and somewhere it is ending. Okay. So where it is starting, where it is ending, that is called a node actually. Okay. So not sure you'll understand this, but we call it as XML nodes actually. So XML nodes will be categorizing the data, where it is starting, where it is ending, and when it is ending, after that, where it is, where next item is starting, and all. You'll be adding this data actually. Okay. So when you know from very basic things, 2 XML or 3 XML like that, and if you keep on increasing, you will get to know that from where it is starting, from where it is ending. Okay. So you need to have starting node and ending node. Let's say your employee data is there. Okay. Employee is one node actually, thinking that it will store all the employee data. Then employee node is ending. Then dependent node is starting. Okay. All the dependent data will be there. Then dependent node will be ending. Then it comes retirees. So like that, each XML node will be storing some data actually. So you need to, by looking at that, if you understand where it is starting, where it is ending, you should be able to code accordingly. Okay. When you go with a custom transformation, you should be able to get an idea by looking at the XML from where it is starting, from where it is ending, and how do you code with the starting and with the endpoint. Okay. So basically, XML will give you a kind of a brief understanding of the all the data. This is nothing but data only. Whatever you see in XML, whatever you see in Excel, the same you will be seeing in XML actually. But only the thing is, all the data will be in the form of nodes actually. In Excel, you will be seeing data in a columns, right? In a rows and columns. But whereas in XML, we should be seeing data like this, which is starting with the starting node and ending with the ending node. Okay. So start looking at any basic XML content documents and see if you're able to understand how the process is for accessibility. Okay. Cool. Now that we know the basic information that we need to understand about the integration, we are aware. Okay. Create EAV is the task. I'm selecting outbound. As I said, EAV can perform both inbound as well as outbound, right? I've selected outbound integration. Click on OK. It is simple actually. At least you need to be familiar with all the steps. Okay. Generally, integration developer means people will think that that's a technical thing. We don't need that because we are not a technical people. Don't think in that way. Whatever you're seeing, right? It's very simple actually. Okay. Very simple. If you have at least this skill set, that will keep you unique, and you should be able to talk confidently when someone asks you, how do you create outbound integration, or do you know anything about integration. You can explain what you're seeing now and what you will be learning with the step-by-step process that will be. At least this will actually keep you as a kind of the unique person in the team, where you can actually handle basic integrations as well as the functional things that we have learned actually. Okay. So this is simple. Don't think that this is something, in technical side, we don't need this. Okay. You have this knowledge, that will definitely be helpful for you. So now I've created an EIB and clicked on OK. Then we got into EIB inside. Okay. So you can see 3 steps that we are seeing, which I told you: get data, transform, and deliver. These are the 3 steps that we'll be seeing when you're creating EIB. One is, where is that? Getting your data, transforming your data, sending the data. Okay, these are the 3 options that we have, and that's what we are seeing. Getting the data, transforming the data, and delivering the data. Okay, so what 3 steps that you will be performing? Get data is nothing but from where you're getting the data. Okay, from where you're getting the data is what you need to do. By default, there is a custom report type. You can actually select the custom report that you wanted to attach. And I told you, right? Your custom report, advanced report needs to be web service enabled report. Then only your integration, not only EAB, any other integration will be able to understand your custom report. Okay. Where you can actually pick it as the source of your report. Okay. So now first, let's see any of the custom report that is enabled as a web service. We can actually pick that one. We created this one for character fill. I'll be using that one. Okay. That's the actual advanced report that I created before. Not able to identify that. So I'm going to make this report as a web service enabled report. I'm making this report as a web service enabled report. Since I did not make this now, I'll try to find this report in the EAB. Let's see if that will identify or not. Okay. Where is the EAB? Oh, where is the EAB that I so, it's gone off. I'm not finding this report actually because report is not a web service enabled report. No, that's the reason why your EAB is not able to find. Okay, I'll click on this. Okay, I'll click on OK. Now I made this report as a web service enabled report. Let's see now if integration will be able to identify this or not. Okay, and again hit enter to see if it will pick or not. Now it will pick actually because we made this report as a web service enabled report, right? Let it save. Once it is saved, we should be able to. I think we need to make some changes to the report since it is throwing an error. I think we need to have a related business object added to the column headings. So whenever your report is a web service enabled report, your related business object needs to be added here. Okay. Added in the group column headings. Okay. I've removed that one. Just keep that in note. So I'm submitting this and I have made the report as a web service enabled report. Once that gets saved, you should be able to pick that from the text. Now I'm able to call this report because I enabled the report as a web service and submitted OK. I'm able to pick that report actually. Okay. Now I've called the report, which is the source of this integration. Okay. Now transform. Transform is the next step because Workday generates its output in the default XML format. Workday offers two transformation types. One is custom report transformation. The other one is custom transformation. New custom report transformation is when you're first time creating a custom report transformation, you'll be selecting this one. Okay. So new custom report transformation is nothing but same as custom report transformation. Only the thing is you will select this for the first time when you're creating custom report transformation. Okay. So I'm selecting new. I'll not select anything now. I'll show a default output. Then I'll show how to transform it. Okay. I did not select anything. I'll keep that as none actually. When you keep that as none, it will be delivering the output in a default format that Workday offers. Okay. We'll see whether that will work or not. Then coming to the deliver actually. Okay. Coming to the deliver, you can see where you wanted to send the data to target system. Okay, which system that you wanted to send. Okay. So if you wanted to send to any third-party vendor system, that vendor will be providing you any of this information actually. Let's say if it is mostly used one is SFTP. secure file transfer protocol, okay, is the delivery method that mostly will be selected. So where you're sending this data to, if it is vendor will be sharing you their SFTP address and the authentication method that they wanted to, okay, authentication method they wanted to, and then you give your user ID and password actually. Okay. So SFTP address is very basic thing that you would be needing when you wanted to send data to target system. Okay. And then the folder, if you wanted to have the file to be placed in a specific folder, you'll give the folder name actually. Okay. And authentication method is nothing but how you wanted to authenticate this SFTP, whether through username or password or any other option that you wanted to use. You have an option to authenticate anything with this SFTP actually. Okay. So authentication method is nothing but which allows you to authenticate with user ID and password. Okay, so that you'll not be misusing the data or someone will not be misleading you and misuse the data. So you can actually send the data to SFTP address, and we have a lot of details here. You can also send to Amazon also. Amazon Simple Storage System, AWS we call it as, right? You can also send data to AWS with configuring all this bucket, region, access, and secret access key. Okay. So you'll be configuring all these things and send data to Amazon storage system, which is AWS. And if it is SFTP, you'll be configuring SFTP details and your authentication method, username, and password, and send this information to other system. So mostly used one is SFTP, and rest of all the things will be based on the requirement actually. Okay. So that's on the SFTP actually, which will be useful for you to send the data. Okay. The typical format of SFTP will be the standard SFTP address format is this one. Okay. And you'll be selecting any folder that vendor has. Which is nothing but your any folder that you can actually give. I'm giving IT, but in this tenant that is not there, right? We'll be seeing here. Authentication method, you can see multiple options. If it is SSH authentication or username and password, you can actually select. If it is username and password, your vendor will be providing username and password.
With all these details like SFTP address, directory, use template file, all these details would be given by the vendor itself, right?
Yes, vendor will be providing you all this information. Their system details, they'll be giving you all this information, and you'll be configuring directory, authentication method. Okay, if vendor is providing username and password, you will be authenticating the username and password. Okay. Or if vendor is not giving username, they wanted to have SSH key to be provided. You generate an SSH key in Workday and share them. Your user will be authenticated with SSH. Okay. So SSH is nothing but a kind of key we generate in Workday and share that key to vendor. If vendor does not have any username and password option, we can actually generate SSH key and share that with user ID to employee. So, sorry, vendor, not employee. You'll be sharing this to vendor. Okay. Okay. So basically, SFTP is one of the options that you typically use, and FTP also similar. Okay, FTP is nothing but file transfer protocol. Okay, so vendor will be providing FTP address and user ID, directory in which folder that they wanted to have. They'll be sharing all this detail when you're building. You'll be configuring all these things and run integration, and based on this configuration, integration will run and send the file to this address and the place file in this folder with the user ID that you have given here. Okay, that's how typically you do in real time. But since we don't have any SFTP connected to this tenant, we'll not be configuring anything, but we'll be seeing the output file as a Workday attachment. Okay. Workday attachment is nothing but whenever you run an integration, that will be generating an output file, and you'll be checking that to see whether file is generated correctly as how you wanted to review or not. Okay. File will be generated for you to see whether everything in the file is accurate or not. Since I have not used any transformation, I will be getting the file in XML format. In order to get the file in XML format, your file extension would be ending with .xml. Okay. Testing is a file name that I've given, but since we'll be getting data from, we have not used any transformation, integration will be generating data in XML format. Okay. So I've given .xml, click on OK. Now if I run the integration, since I have not given any transformation, file will run in a XML format. So I'm running this integration to see how it works. So when integration runs, it will be correcting it. We have seen some error actually. Let's see what is the error. Okay, I think delivery we have kept as it is in compensation. Okay, there is issue with the calculation. So there is some issue with the calculation. I don't know. Let's change the report. This is the report, right? Let me remove the campaign. What the error is talking about? Sorry, comp plan amount, currency. Okay. Okay. So what we've done is we've created a calculated field yesterday in a report, right? So we've given the currency as a kind of US dollars, but there are also numbers with Canada currency. Okay. For those employees, it is actually field when integration is running. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that field. So now I've removed that will be unique for all the employees. I'll rerun the integration to see whether it completes successfully in one. Now I've removed it. Let me rerun the integration. So I want to rerun the integration, go to the integration event, related actions, integration event, relaunch the integration. Rerun the integration is what we will tell. Run this. Now since we have removed the field, we should not be seeing the error that we got. Okay, now it is completed, right? Since we have not added any transformation, now the output file will be in a .xml, which is XML format actually, which is a default output format that Workday generates actually. Okay, you can see since we have not used any transformation, the file has got generated in an XML format, which is a default output format. There are some systems which can accept as it is. Okay, they can accept the data as it is and load the data into their system because their system would have got capability to accept XML data. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a transformation to the integration to transform this XML to any other format. Okay, going back to the integration. I'm going to add transformation here through custom report transformation. Okay, I'm going to edit. Go to the transform. Since we have not selected any transformation, I'm going to select custom report transformation. For the first time since we're doing, I'm selecting new custom report transformation. Run next. So now, since we are transforming this, I wanted to first convert this into CSV format. So I'll be adding the file extension, dot file extension as CSV. Okay. CSV. I'll keep that as CSV. And then click on next. Now I've selected custom report transformation, right? You can see custom report transformation has got created actually. Now I can go configure the transformation, related actions, enterprise builder, configure transformation here. Okay. CSV files will be having comma as a delimiter. Okay. CSV is nothing but comma separated value, right? So all the CSV files will have comma as a separated value. Okay, you just keep the delimiter as it is, and then see what all the column names you have. Okay. If you want to change, you don't have an option to remove any field that you don't want to have in the output file. When you're going with custom report transformation, you don't have an option to exclude any of the field from the report. Actually, you need to have all the fields like that. So you don't have an option to remove some of the fields and change the report. Report with removing the fields. You cannot do that. Okay. If you wanted to do that, go to the report, remove the fields, and again attach the report to EIB and refresh that one so that your transformation will get updated. But in ideal case, will not be doing this. So employee ID, full name, all this you can see. If you wanted to bypass the name, employee ID plus email, you can actually keep this one just like this by bypassing. And then I have almost given the same accurate name. Now I've given the custom report transformation CSV requirement where delimiter is used as a comma actually. Okay. So now I've added custom report transformation that will generate file in a CSV format. But before that, I'm going to find the integration name that I've. So in order to identify the integration, INT sys is the prefix you need to use. INT sys testing integration is what I've given, right? Testing integration. So I've given CSV, finding the integration. Yes. On testing the integration. We'll be testing one integration. This is the one that we created. I'm running this report now. This is configured with custom report transformation with CSV file format, and let's see whether that will get generated or not. Launch schedule. Clicking on launch schedule will run your integration. Run frequency now. Click on OK. Now, since we made integration to actually return the data in CSV format, I'm running the integration so that you can see the data in a CSV format. Okay, now output file has got generated. Since we have converted this to custom report transformation, now I should be seeing the data in a readable format. Okay, you can see. I can see data populated in a CSV file where you can actually understand data in a rows and columns. Okay, so for each row you can have different names actually. Okay. So now data has got generated in a CSV file. We have not written any XSLT, but we have done through custom report transformation that has got generated output in a CSV format. Makes sense? Anyone have any questions in the flow? What did we do? We created a report. We attached that report to the integration and ran. Since we have not added any transformation, it got generated in XML format. Okay. Then we again reran the integration by adding a transformation called custom report transformation that will actually generate output in a CSV format because we have changed the file name dot extension as a .csv and added comma as a separated value. Okay. So in that way, based on the configuration, your output has got changed to XML. Okay. Now the same kind of thing. I'll change again small thing here, which is mostly used integration option. Okay. I'm going to edit this and post that. I think we can wind off. Okay. Let me refresh this. I'm editing this. I'm actually changing the format again to a text format actually. Okay. To a text format with a comma with a pipe as a delimiter. Instead of comma, I'm going to change this as a pipe. Okay. Pipe, I'm giving pipe as a delimiter. Click on OK. And now I'm going to change the file extension from .xml to .txt. Okay. I'm going to change the file extension from .csv to .txt. Interface builder. So not here in the file name delivery option we have. Integration, interface, edit, and you need to change the file format. Now we got CSV, right? But we wanted to have .txt and delimiter should be a pipe actually. So I'm going to delimiter is nothing but you can consider that as a separator in easy language. Okay, if you're not able to understand what is delimiter means, you can consider that as a separator from one column to other column. Okay, I'm going to change .csv to .txt. Okay. There will be an option to save this. Okay. Okay. Now I've changed file format to .txt and added delimiter as a pipe actually. What is the error that we're getting? The page you're trying to see is unavailable. Okay, clicking on OK. Now running a report will actually, running the integration will actually change the format. Okay, from CSV to what it will run? It will give in a text format with pipe as a delimiter. Okay, let's see. This is the format which is mostly used by majority of the vendor. Pipe delimiter is a kind of requirement that majority of the business requirement will have or third party system requirements. You can actually consider what you're learning now. Okay. Now, when I have the output file, that output file will be in a text format with pipe as a delimiter. Everything coming from what we've configured. Okay. .txt. You can see now pipe has got as a delimiter and the file format is in text format. At least this is also readable to some extent, but whereas XML is not readable, right? So this will be easy to understand when you compare with XSLT. Sorry, when you compare with XML actually. Okay. So this is nothing but text file with pipe as a delimiter. Okay. So that's how you'll be able to format file without any kind of XSLT, without writing any kind of expression, just through custom report transformation, you can format the data. And tomorrow, when you have similar kind of requirements, where you handle any kind of conditions, any kind of calculations within the calculated field, you should be good to handle report with custom report transformation without any kind of XSLT.